Good day. This is Pastor JT from Affinity Missionary Baptist Church here in the lovely city of Cleveland, Ohio, early on this Friday morning. You've made it to the end of the work week. Give yourself a hand. Look, our passage of scripture this morning will come from the book of Isaiah, Old Testament passage of scripture, Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. And this should be a very familiar passage of scripture. And it says, but those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Not only is this verse talking about patience, but what's undergirded with patience is this thing called perfect timing. I watched a video, I think it was on TikTok or something like that. It was a young lady who was standing at a desk, and there was a circle drawn on a piece of paper. And someone, I guess, was dictating instructions, and she saw these scissors on this desk. And before the instructions were granted, she just started cutting out this circle. And then the instructions said, don't cut out the circle. So then she placed the scissors down. And before the next level of instructions came, she saw this tape, and they asked her, is there Scotch tape or something like that? And before she waited for the next instruction, she just started tearing off the tape and fixing the circle. And the instruction said, don't use the tape or the scissors. I chuckled at that. But it spoke truth to power to me about sometimes, we need to be patient with the instructions that God has for us. And we find ourselves in a position where, because of past experiences, we want to help God fix our situations. Well, if you wanted God to help you fix your situations, then why did you ask God if you think you already know how to fix it? And that's where perfect timing comes. Sometimes you got to wait on the Lord because when the perfect timing comes, that's when you could soar, because God knows what's going on around you. He has a sphere, a perspective that's wider than yours. And what you may think is the perfect timing to start launching off, God may be saying, wait a minute, there's a storm that's coming that you don't see. There's a challenge that's coming that you may not be ready or aware of. Why don't you wait on me? Let the storm pass, and then I'll give you the go-ahead to soar like an eagle. When you take the reins of your own life, unfortunately, you don't end up soaring like an eagle. You end up walking around like an ant. So I want to encourage you on today to don't get ahead of God. Wait on the Lord. Wait on the promises of His word. It says right there in the text, if you wait on the Lord will renew your strength, and you will be able to mount up at the right time with the wings like eagles. You will run and not be weary, because a lot of times you get tired when you're running because you're running against resistance. If God knows when the resistance is lighter, then wait on Him to give you the go-ahead. Look, I hope that blessed you on today. I could preach on that all day, but I know many of you got to get to work, and many of you are retired, or many of you just want to get out and enjoy this weather. But I hope that blessed you on today. As you face the weekend, make sure you find a healthy, well-balanced church like Affinity, 4411 East 175th Street. We have 8 o'clock and at 10:45. I encourage you to connect with a healthy, well-balanced church, and you'll be able to see the benefits of the presence of God in your life. Look, have an amazing weekend. Take care.